we will go from there. So thanks, everybody. Welcome to our session, our apprentice panel today. So thank you, everyone. It is the 17th National Apprenticeship Week. So thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to let a couple more people in. I can see there's a few more people coming in, which is great. So yeah, so thank you for joining today's session. So I believe, so yesterday we had an employer session and today we've got an apprentice session. And today what we're going to do is we can focus on why choose a legal apprenticeship. So thank you very much for sort of joining today. It's such a lovely week to be involved in the National Apprenticeship Week. It's part of our commitment to legal apprenticeships. And so today we're calling it Apprentice Wednesday. And this session is open to everybody. So we have potential apprentices here as well as current. And what we're going to do today is we are going to have our esteemed panel of current CILEX Law School Apprentices, and they're going to talk to you about their stories and their journeys, but also what's possible to achieve through doing a legal apprenticeship. We really hope you enjoyed today's session. We will have time at the end to take any questions. So if you can just hang on to questions until the end, unless it's absolutely burning, in which case please let us know. But the plan is to just take you through our guest speakers today, and we're going to kind of do it in stages. So we're going to ask a couple of questions to each apprentice as we go, and then we'll come back round and we'll ask the remaining questions to the apprentices. So hopefully that's okay. And if my esteemed panel are ready, then we will get started. So I'm going to kick us off today with Sinead. So Sinead Lever works for AS Watson Limited. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Sinead. So I'm going to kick us off then. So just want to tell us a bit about you and your current employer and kind of what you do and whereabouts is AS Watson based?
Yep, I can. Thank you, Simon, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel. My name is Sinead Lever. I am currently a paralegal at AS Watson Health and Beauty UK Limited. We represent three operating companies in the UK, which is Superdrug, Savers, and the Perfume Shop. So lots of high street. We're based in East Croydon. So nice and local to me. I'm not far from the office at all. Lots of variety in my role, but yeah, very retail based, but obviously in a commercial setting it covers a lot.
Lovely. And Sinead, where are you in your journey at the moment?
So we have just commenced EPA, so our endpoint assessment. So we are building our portfolios, doing our prep for our for our interview. So lots of mock interview prep at the moment. So crunch time now. So the last bit of the journey.
Lovely. How did you find out about the law school then, and kind of and what made you pick us?
So what was fantastic and is great about my employer is that I was in procurement beforehand. I then got a promotion to paralegal. I was a contracts administrator before, had a lot of interest in the contract side. So I joined the legal team, and my manager was very supportive in getting me onto the CILEX apprenticeship to aid both myself and the business in the role that I was doing. A lot of thanks to them. Something I was definitely looking at on my own as well. So it's great to be able to do it alongside my role rather than doing evening classes or something like that. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Lovely. And remind me, Sinead, what area of law are you working in, and kind of what does that mean if it's quite complicated? What does it mean?
Yeah, so we're commercial. The commercial is business, so business to business, but it could be anything. So it could be one day you could be working on a contract for marketing, for example. Then you could be dealing with an IP claim. Then you could be dealing with a store fit out contract, which is going to be going on for many years. Covers everything. So supply chain, HR, everything to do with the business that isn't on the shop, that could be on the shop floor and also behind the scenes.
Fab. That sounds quite interesting. Is that have I got that right? It sounds quite exciting.
It is. There's a lot of variety. You don't know necessarily what you're going to be doing the Friday that week. Things change, priorities change, lots of movement. But in terms of, setting me up for a career in law, it's been invaluable. Lots of shifting priorities and things like that. So it's great for the caseload management.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sinead. We'll come back to you, but thank you very much for kicking us off. Done that perfectly. Jackie, I'm going to come over to you if that's all right. So, Jackie, you work for Pretty Solicitors. Can you tell us what's your kind of role and where are you based?
Hi, Simon. Yes, I work for Pretty's and we're based in Ipswich in Suffolk. So I've been with them for about 1.5 years now. And previous to that, I was working for a very big corporate veterinary group as an in-house team. And thankfully, Pretty's took over my apprenticeship. So I've actually moved during my apprenticeship, and I think I'm the first apprentice at Pretty's. So it was all quite new. It's all quite new to them still. So I do commercial property work. So most of my work is agreeing leases, lease terms, rent deposit deeds. I also dip in and out of sale and purchases of commercial properties. So then that involves having to review all the searches and doing reports to the clients on, and sort of doing it quite a lot of investigating, sometimes on titles, and generally bits and pieces like that, really. So
Fab. And where are you on your journey then? How close are you to completing your apprenticeship?
I'm very close. I'm at the end point, and I'm fingers crossed. Within the next couple of months, I should be submitting my portfolio and qualifying August/September.
Fantastic. And how did you find out about the law school then, and kind of what made you choose the apprenticeship route?
Many years ago, I did CILEX. I did it what is level 3, and I did that at college. I paid for that myself, and then done the part of the level 3, and then stopped due to children, work, etc. And it's always sort of been in the back of my mind that I never finished it. So when the opportunity came along, I originally did a course just to do commercial property, and passed that, and then sort of discussed with my manager about CILEX and whether I wanted to take that on, and just agreed that I really wanted to finish what I started. So
Lovely, brilliant. Thanks so much, Jackie. That's brilliant. Going to hand over to Alice now. Alice, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Alice, tell us about you. Who do you work for, and sort of where are you based?
Yeah, hi. So obviously I'm Alice. I'm a paralegal at CILEX Solicitors, and we're a law firm just based across the entirety of Yorkshire. We won Large Law Firm of the Year last year in the Yorkshire Legal Awards, which was really exciting. And I think just the law firm in general is just really trying to grow, and they're very progressive. So I'm very lucky to work for the people that I do.
Lovely. And again, where are you on your journey, Alice?
So I am in my final module of the paralegal apprenticeship. So in terms of career journey, I'm still relatively close to the start. But in terms of this apprenticeship, yeah, I'm coming up to do my endpoint assessment.
Fabulous. And how did you find out about the law school and apprenticeships, and what made you choose the apprenticeship route?
So I always wanted to do an apprenticeship. My sister did an apprenticeship in the field of work that she works in, and university never really appealed to me. So it was my employer that pointed me in the direction of CILEX, really, because previously I did a business administration apprenticeship, but that was with Switalski's, but with a different course provider. And I know that I want to go all the way up to qualifying through the apprenticeship route. So my employer asked me to research CILEX, and here I am.
Fabulous. And tell us, what area are you working in Alice, and kind of and tell us if it's exciting or interesting.
Oh, absolutely. So I work in Wills Trust and Probate Department. So on a daily basis, I deal with like the administration of estates and trusts, and I'll have meetings with clients and draft their wills and powers of attorney. And I think at face value, people tend to not diminish, but they don't really appreciate wills and probate as being interesting. They think it's quite boring, but the work that we actually do is so different to that, because we deal with so many different people with going through a variety of different personal circumstances, and no two matters are ever the same. So it's really interesting, because it's nice to just help people going through a really vulnerable time in their life and be that support system that they need.
Fabulous. Thanks, Alice. That sounds really interesting. And then lastly, but by no means least, Amy, tell us about your role. Where do you work, and kind of where are you based?
Hi, so I'm Amy. I work for Napton Solicitors based in Blackburn in Lancashire. We do have a number of offices over the northwest. Blackburn is the best office though. And I've been here nearly 11 years.
Wow. And where are you on your career journey then, Amy? Where are you about?
About halfway through. It's been a really tough year from starting it. I didn't think it's something that I would ever do. But I've got the thought that I want to understand my job a lot more than what I do now. So then work approached me and asked me if I wanted to do it. So they're basically behind me all the way through, pushing me for it. I realised I know more than what I thought I knew, which is always good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Brilliant. And in terms of sort of why you picked the apprenticeship and the law school, what was it that made you pick this particular route?
It's the one that they approached me with through the HR department. They obviously, as I say, they've got the belief in me that this is something that I can do, with being there for so long as well, and wanting, well, as I say, I never wanted to progress, but then sort of a couple of years ago woke up thinking, well, why not?
And you say you're in the best place, and yours is the best office. What do you do there? What's your kind of area of specialism?
And so I work in the commercial property department, and there is 11 in my team. Yeah.
And what is that? What is commercial property? What do you do?
Sale, purchases, leases, deeds of covenant, rent deposit deeds. Yeah.
Lots.
Sorry.
I'm always amazed at the breadth of what our apprentices do in their job roles, because it just sounds so exciting and so interesting. And for me, we'll talk in a minute about what you do in your sort of day to day, but I'm always amazed at just how much our apprentices do. And Catherine, I know you've been waiting there with bated breath, but tell us a little bit about you, Catherine. Where do you work, and sort of where are you based?
So I work at JDR Cable Systems. They basically, it's a manufacturing company that supplies subsea umbilical cables. If you don't know what that is, I still don't 100% know, but it is the cables that go under the sea that provide provide energy from wind turbines, and they also can get oil and gas out of the ground. So big contracts, quite confusing, still learning every day, basically. My office is based in Littleport near Cambridgeshire, but we also have offices up north in Newcastle. We're building one in Blyth, and we have one at Hartlepool as well. And we've also recently extended into the Americas.
Wow. And where are you on your journey, Catherine? How close are you to the end of your apprenticeship journey?
So I'm on the same pathway as Sinead. Again, we've just entered into the EPA. So we're practicing for our interviews, getting prepared for our exams. They're slowly creeping up on us, and I feel like I'm running out of time, even though I've got about 5 months for them. But yeah.
And I know we've heard EPA mentioned a few times in this session. What is the EPA? What is that?
So the EPA stands for Endpoint Assessment. In May, we passed through a metaphorical gateway, which basically means that your portfolio has to be complete, and the portfolio is made up of 4 different outcomes, I believe, that reach different paralegal standards. This is where you just collect all the work that you've done over the past 2 years, add it to it. Some of them are harder to get than others. For example, I work in-house. We time manage, but we don't break up our time in 6-minute intervals. So that's quite hard to do. And because I work in-house as well, it's quite hard to reach that outcome compared to in practice, but I'm sure there's in practice outcomes that are hard to reach compared to in-house. So we pass through that gateway, and then in June, we have a week set aside for our exams. I believe we've been told that those 2 exams are going to take place on the same day. And then in July, we'll have a 90-minute interview over Zoom or Teams with what's the word?
Assessor?
Evaluator? Yeah, assessor.
Yeah.
With an assessor, they're basically going to ask you questions relating to your portfolio. So you've just got to explain what you've done, why you've done it, what it looks like. You just got to talk for an hour and a half.
I'm sure you will smash it.
Yeah.
In the EPA. Yeah, and it's really interesting because EPA is actually, if you've not done apprenticeships before, if you're new to apprenticeships, that endpoint assessment is a really kind of, we think it's a really demanding but really worthwhile kind of summation of the apprenticeship. And yeah, absolutely, it is that whole thing of testing how, you know, how competent you are and just how good you are, and demonstrating to those assessors that actually, you know, you are absolutely ready, you know, to complete your apprenticeship and become a, you know, fully fledged apprentice. And so yeah, absolutely, it's a great way to end the program. But I understand no one likes doing exams and things at the end, so but you have my sympathy. So thanks everybody, that is brilliant to know about you. Just going to go back to the room now. I'm going to start with Sinead again. Thanks for bringing your dog, Sinead, that's great. We had my cat earlier, so
hear whether I like it or not.
that's fine. Sinead, what's a typical day like for you? What do you tend to do?
So a typical day for me, so say it's a Monday, for example, is making sure I have a running list of what to do. So priorities are changing all the time. Demands can come from all over. They can come from stakeholders in the business. They can come from our customer service team. They could come from one of the other lawyers in the team that need urgent assistance. So my regular work is assisting the lawyers. So it could be optional extensions, it could be amendments, it could be dealing with claims that come in, it could be a research task on a new piece of legislation or an update to a piece of legislation. So Green Claims Code, for example, is ongoing. Lots and lots of things going on. Support for our tag, which is you know, running a steering group that we have in the company for kind of updates that are going on from the government and things like that, and in the industry. So yeah, it's hard to give you what do I do 9 to 5, but it's definitely led by our stakeholders and kind of the demands of the business, and making sure that I'm there to help. But it's also very key, I find, in my role to be very transparent about my workload and the capacity that I have to take on additional work. So it's just making sure I keep up that communication with my supervising lawyer, but also others in the business as well.
And do you work from home, Sinead, or is it hybrid? What's your working environment like?
Yeah, so it's hybrid. Wednesday's my study day, which fits in well with the webinars that we have. The other day, so I have another day that I can work from home. They're pretty flexible on that. We just have a core day that we make sure the whole legal team are in together, so we can have our team meetings and things like that. But yeah, they're very flexible. You know, if you need to be at home, you can be at home. But I like the office environment. Keeps you, you know, focused, and also it's easier sometimes to kind of have somebody approach you at your desk and talk things through. Teams is obviously fantastic for that, but I don't think you can really replace the in-person relationships that you can build.
And it sounds like you said there you've got a big team around you. Do you get support at work? Do you have a mentor or a sort of support from colleagues?
Yeah, lots of support at work. They're a fantastic team. Half are newish, so a year or less. Then we've got some kind of resident lawyers that have been there for a number of years. So it's just fantastic to pick up on lots of different ways of doing things. So even in you know, the legal world, somebody might draft something in a particular way. But yeah, lots and lots of support. I have a supervisor that I have for my CILEX apprenticeship, but I also have different supervising lawyers depending on the work that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm pretty open to the whole team in terms of if I have capacity, if somebody needs some help with something, it doesn't necessarily have to come through my supervising lawyer. It can come from anybody.
And what do you want your apprenticeship to help you achieve, Sinead? Where do you want to go?
So what's been fantastic about it already is that it cements what I'm doing at work and gives me the kind of theory behind it, the textbook, you know, theory and the case law and things like that behind it. I want to go as far as I can. So hopefully I'll be a lawyer one day. That's what I'm aiming to do. But yeah, it's been great to have my knowledge that I can bring to the course that I'm doing, but also be able to speak confidently at work, knowing that I know what I'm talking about, which has really helped.
And how have you found combining work and study? Because that sounds like it's something you have to do quite a lot.
Yeah, my team are very respectful of the fact that Wednesday is my study day. There could be shifting priorities, so things could come up on a Wednesday that they need my help with, which I'll obviously you know, log in for however long and assist, but they are very respectful of the fact that I need to have my study day. So I do have that. I can break it up and shift it across the week if I need to, but I haven't found that I needed to do that. But yeah, it's just been great to be able to combine the two. They support each other. So my work definitely backs up my course, and my course helps me at work.
Lovely. Thanks, Sinead. That's brilliant. Jackie, I'm gonna hand over to you now. So Jackie, tell it, is there a typical day for you? What does it look like?
Most of the time I am involved in either my area of expertise that I'm sort of into is leases. So most of my work involves negotiating leases, drafting leases, agreeing leases. That I get the odd thing thrown in with, as I say, if I'm dealing with a sale or purchase of a property. I also get involved with our corporate team when they're dealing with a sale or a purchase of a business. Obviously, if there's property aspects with the sale or purchase, if there's a lease in place, or you know that they want to, they own the freehold of the property, then I will assist on the property side of that as well, and just generally do as much as I can for them. So most of my time, you think it's going to be a quiet day and you can just get on and do your work, but you get things thrown in all the time. Could I just have a look at, review this title, or can I just have a quick look at this lease? So it's most of the time I am just doing bits and pieces and trying to keep my head down, really. So
And do you work from home, Jackie, or are you in the office? Have you got a hybrid role?
mine's a hybrid role. So Monday is my study day, and then I have to, our team day is a Friday, so I have to be in the office on a Friday. But the rest of the week, it depends on my workload. If I'm reviewing, say, a quite a big lease or something like that, then I can decide if I want to stay at home or go into the office, just depending as well on meetings, if I've got any meetings that I have to be in the office for. But most of them are carried out over Teams. So one week, like this week, I will just go into the office one day. Next week I might be in there 2 days. So, but I don't need to go into the office more than 2 days a week. So, which is really good for me, because it saves the travel time and the costs of going into the office and time for me.
Lovely. And so it sounds like you're very supported at the office. Do you get support if you've got a mentor, or who supports you in the office?
So most of the work I get, I'm assisting either the partner of the team or the associates, and I work with them on a matter. Although I have got quite a few files now myself that have been allocated to me, because they've deemed that I can deal with these on my own, and I'm just supervised. So basically, I will draft a lease. I will then go to my colleague and we will go through it and, you know, discuss anything that comes up on it. But most of the time I'm left to draft stuff and then go to them when I need help, or obviously once I need them to have a look at it before it goes out to a client or the other side. So I am sort of left to my own devices quite a lot, which is quite nice that I'm not micromanaged in what I'm doing. I haven't got somebody throughout the day saying, right, I need you to do this, this and this. I've just said I'm working on, we have a solicitor who is allocated file, and we also have a trainee. We've got a trainee solicitor and myself as a legal assistant in the team, and we allocate who's assisting the solicitor. So there's always 2 people working on a matter. So that is good with the client, because the client will know they can come to me as well as the solicitor if they're not available.
That's great. Sounds like there's an awful lot of trust and responsibility that's been placed with you, Jackie. So clearly there is you're held in high regard with your employer. How have you found balancing study and sort of working?
I have to say that if I didn't have the study day, I would have struggled to keep up with the apprenticeship, with the course, with the studying. Having that study day where I'm lucky, like Sinead, my work accept and respect that that's my study day. Unless there's something really urgent that I need to do, they just leave me alone. And to have that additional support of that day is priceless.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Jackie. That's great. Alice, I'm going to come to you now, if that's okay. Alice, it sounds like a daft question. Is there a typical day? What does your typical day look like?
So again, obviously varies day to day, but typically I'll sit meetings with new or existing clients and take instructions for their wills and powers of attorney, and offer them advice on what sort of thing we think would be best for their will, and inheritance tax, all that fun stuff. And then the matter will be mine then, so that will be my client, and I'll draft all the documents up until the final closure of the matter. In between appointments and dealing with wills and powers of attorney, I also get to assist with administration of estate files and trusts, and often I'm a main point of contact for a lot of our clients, because the solicitors are way too busy to constantly be answering the phone and things like that. So I often deal with the new inquiries and giving the first bit of advice, and then talking about what we need to do for them to instruct us, etc., and go from there.
Brilliant. Again, it sounds like there's an awful lot of trust and responsibility that you have. Sounds like you cope with it very well.
Absolutely. I think I do get supported quite a lot from my colleagues, but they're very good at also like leaving me to my own devices when they know that I'm okay with something, because I'm very much a person that isn't afraid to ask a question, and if I need help with something I will ask, but if I don't, I'm quite content just sitting and getting it done.
And how have you found sort of that working and studying balance?
I like it. I enjoy studying and learning, and I've always been like that ever since I was in school. So with what you're learning on the apprenticeship, it's directly applicable to what you actually do in your job. So it goes hand in hand 100%. So it's quite nice.
Good, lovely. Thank you, Alice. That's great. Amy, I'm going to hand over to you now, Amy. So again, sounds like a silly question, but is there a typical day for you, Amy? If there is, what's it look like?
It's one of those where you walk in, you every day is not the same. I have to manage what I'm going to do throughout the day. I've got day folders in my inbox where it's Monday to Friday, and I will assess which ones take priority over which and move them to which day to then look at them, so that I'm not overloaded. I deal with the post completion from as soon as it's completed up until the file's being closed on my own. Since obviously this course, I've been given more responsibility and asked to draft a contract, or what documents would I need from the land registry. Mine's just gone blank.
It's all right. That's fine. Again, it sounds like busy and you've got an awful lot of things to do, but there's an awful lot of responsibility to support you. So that sounds good. Do you get a lot of support from your employer? Do you get a mentor or a supervisor?
Yeah, I've got a mentor. She's absolutely fantastic. She's there at the other end of the phone, face to face. She actually lives up the road from me, so any problems whatsoever, she's there. In work hours, out of work hours, it's absolutely fantastic. I was messaging her at 9 o'clock last night about things. And the partner that I work for, he's just the same. He's so supportive on everything that I do, in work, out of work, personal matters, work matters. I've never worked anywhere like it, to be honest.
Fantastic. And how have you found combining study and work? How is that working out for you?
I struggled at first because I've not studied for 20 plus years. So to try and get back into that mindset, it was really, really hard. I had lots of talks with my tutor about it, finding the best way. Obviously, I've got my study day on a Wednesday now, obviously from the start, sorry, not from now. And it's starting to work out well, but currently we've been short-staffed. So it's basically me. As well as then taking one day out of the week to try and fit 5 days of that working 4 days has been challenging, but I'm getting there. But we do have someone to replace the girl that left starting next week. But it's been like that since June last year.
Oh, I bet you're relieved. I bet you're relieved.
Absolutely. But as the year's gone on, I've found my flow with it. So I'm sort of more settled now and I'm getting to where I need to be.
Brilliant. Thank you, Amy. And Catherine, what about you? Tell us about a typical day at JDR Cables.
Again, not every day is the same. We do have set calls that run weekly. So we have insurance meeting, we have meetings with our external lawyers, personal injury calls. So there is some sort of a routine. However, we never know what's going to come on Friday and have to be worked on Monday or worked over at the weekend. So every day is different. My study day is on a Friday. It used to be on a Thursday. However, just calls kept being put in on a Thursday and I just couldn't get the most out of the time. So myself and my mentor made the decision to change it to a Friday.
Lovely. And in terms of sort of support, it sounds like you're very supported at work.
Yeah, there's 3 lawyers above me. One of them is based out of the office that I work in, so she's mainly my mentor. But also I have daily calls with one of the other lawyers who's based up north, just to catch up on what we got up to at the weekend, what we're doing at the weekend, and what work we've got to do during the day. And also, him and I both deal with the NDAs around the business, so I proofread them, make any amendments, and then send it through to him, and he'll check through and make any additional changes, and we'll go through it together.
It's brilliant. And how have you found the work-life balance, the work and the studying?
So it's hard to study from home and it's hard to study online. And because I come out of sixth form and then took a year off, just working, and then went into an apprenticeship, it is quite hard. It is doable though, but it's just getting focused and getting your mind into it.
Lovely, brilliant. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I'm always amazed at not only the breadth of what you do, but also the trust and the responsibility that you have at work, and that really does, scream that there is a trust and you are demonstrating those skills that you need in the workplace, and that you have to earn that. And I think that's really impressive. I'm always impressed about how much work our apprentices do and the amount of autonomy they have in their day. And again, that just shouts that there is a trust in that employer for you, and you absolutely have deserved that. So thank you for that. Right, we're going to do our last pass now. So Sinead, you'll be very pleased to know it's the last time I come back to you. But Sinead, just tell us a little bit about the law school actually. So why did you, I know you may have kind of picked up on earlier about why you came to the law school, but how have you found the law school? How have you found the interaction with us, the support from us? How have you found studying at the law school?
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it, to be honest. It's tough at times, and it should be, because you're learning. So, you know, if you knew it already, you wouldn't be doing this apprenticeship. So there are going to be some challenges. I just think, for me, I think it's just really important to keep engaged with your LDA, so your learning and development advisor, also with your pathway specialists. So they are the lawyers that are teaching you each of the modules. It's really important that you just keep the communication open with them. So just reach out to them if you're struggling, reach out to them if you have any questions. Make sure you use the webinar time that you have. Just hang on for 5 minutes at the end of your webinar, so you have, like, you know, a quick catch up with your pathway specialist if you need to. I just think it's really important to just stay as engaged as possible, because it's very easy, I would think, to let it slip if you're not doing the worksheets that you're supposed to do or the revision that you're supposed to do. So it's quite fast paced. They're fitting a lot into, you know, quite a short space of time. So yeah, just make sure you're staying as on the ball as you can with what you need to do, and keep following your planner. Your planner is very detailed to what they are expecting you to do every week. So just make sure that you're referring to that constantly, and you know what you're supposed to be doing, and you'll be absolutely fine. She says.
Well, you guys are all doing very well as far as I can tell. And I suppose it sounds to me like you would recommend an apprenticeship to others. Is there one bit of advice you'd give or offer to somebody who's thinking about starting an apprenticeship with CILEX at the law school?
What I love is that it is suitable for everybody. So you know, it's been a long time since I was at school. I didn't want to go to university. I wasn't a particularly studious person when I was at school. But because I found something that I thoroughly enjoy doing, it's made this apprenticeship easier. So I want to do the work and I want to do well, because I enjoy it, and also because it, you know, I can see the benefits. My team can see the benefits. The business can see the benefits. So in terms of CILEX, I would absolutely recommend it. And I think it's not just for now. So it's not just, you know, come September when, you know, hopefully I pass, it'll be right, what's the next stage? And my LDA is very good at that. Is, you know, have you thought about it? Have you had any more thoughts? There's a careers page which you can go on and have a look at. There's just loads of support there. You just need to make sure, you know, you're reaching out and using it if you need to.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you, Sinead. Jackie, what about you then? What I suppose it's that thing of what made you come to us, and have you found the interaction and the support for us useful, helpful?
As I said before, you know, I did study with CILEX many years ago. So there was no alternative for me. It was, when I was looking into it, it was CILEX. And obviously, to begin with, I was looking at doing distance learning. And then my manager approached me about the potential of an apprenticeship. And for me, the apprenticeship with CILEX seemed a natural thing to do, because obviously I knew with my background with CILEX that was the way to go, really. So
and would you, it sounds like you'd recommend an apprenticeship to sort of colleagues. What advice would you give somebody who was thinking about starting an apprenticeship with the law school? What would you tell them to do?
To go for it. I see a lot of people. I've got daughters that are sort of at that age now, whether it's uni or what to do. And if you want to do law and you don't want to do another route, say a solicitor route, then CILEX is definitely the way to go, because I found that from my personal experience doing this CILEX apprenticeship, I've gained so much knowledge over the last few years. And then I work with a colleague who has done a law degree and is now doing the SQE, and the knowledge I have compared to him is, you know, I blow him out of the water most of the time with what I can tell him. And so it's the working and gaining that experience and knowledge at the same time, and then being supported with your studies as well, having that study day each week. You know, it's just the whole package really, for an apprenticeship. And I know obviously everywhere is gearing towards apprenticeships now, and I think with CILEX they do offer an amazing support with your apprenticeship, and I've been with them now for a few years. Lucky enough, I'm coming to the end of my journey with them, but I'm always looking, well, what's the next step? What can CILEX offer me next? So yeah, definitely recommend anyone to do it with CILEX.
Thanks, Jackie. Alice, what about you? How have you why did you want to come to the law school, and how have you found your interactions and support from us?
Yeah, when I started looking into CILEX, when my employer pointed me in your direction, it just straight away seemed like a really good path for me. The interaction from everybody that works at CILEX has been absolutely great, and they're really encouraging, and they've never put me down. Both my LDA and my pathway specialist, they're always to hand whenever I need them, and they'll always manage to put my mind at ease because I'm a very stressy kind of person.
And is there any advice that you'd give, Alice, to somebody thinking about starting an apprenticeship with a law school? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, again, same as Jackie, just do it. Just make sure that you have good time management and you can manage your time and coordinate studying at the same time as working, and just ask loads of questions to anybody that will listen, because doing an apprenticeship is so valuable, because at work you're learning from experts that actually do that job on a daily basis, but then at CILEX you're also learning from, my pathway specialist was a solicitor, so you're still learning from people that have been there and done it, and the support is just second to none.
Thanks, Alice. Amy, what about you then? What made you come to us, and sort of how have you found the interaction and the support?
Obviously, as I said previously, it was my work that pushed me towards CILEX, which I've really enjoyed. I did struggle at the start, I'm not going to lie, until then I got my head around the fact that if I don't speak up, it's never going to get better. So I do speak to my LDA and my pathway specialist a lot. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd still be doing it, because I really would have struggled. And as I say, it's just getting over that hurdle in your own mind that you're not on your own, even though you are effectively learning at home on your own. It's what's the word? Self-learning, but it's not as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really struggle with speaking to people.
Amy, you've done absolutely a brilliant. I think everyone's done brilliantly today, so I'm super impressed. Gosh, if I had my own firm, you'd all come work for me. Absolutely. Amy, is there any advice you'd give to a potential person thinking, "Oh, that sounds like it could be for me"?
Just exactly what I said. Speak up and ask the questions. Don't sit there and stare at a question for 20 minutes because you don't fully understand what the wording actually means. Because they do ask questions in a way sometimes that it's what? So then I will email my tutor and say, I don't fully understand this and I don't want to get the wrong end of it to then answer it incorrectly and then teach myself the wrong way. But yeah, I'd definitely say go for it, but just make sure you do speak up.
Oh, thank you, Amy. That's brilliant. And last but by no means least, Catherine, tell us about what was it that made you come to the law school, and how have you found the support and the kind of interaction with us?
So I'm a bit of an anomaly in this equation, because when I was looking for jobs in this sort of field, I was just typing in paralegal because I just thought it's something that I want to do, it's something that I want to get into, so I'll just try and apply for it. And then I found JDR Cables were hiring for a legal apprentice. So I went in for the interview, sat down for it, got it explained to me, and I thought, this sounds really cool. So I want to get into it. So I did, and yeah, I've been loving every minute of it since. Has its ups and downs, but every day is different. Every week you're learning something new. Some days at the start it is disheartening because you're trying to do something and it's frustrating because you don't understand it. But 6 months down the line, and you'll be able to do it off the back of your hand, just because you've learned it now. You understand what it means, and it's really rewarding when you get to that stage.
And it sounds like to me you'd recommend an apprenticeship. What advice would you give to a potential apprentice thinking about joining the law school?
My advice would be go as far as your company will take you, because there's nothing wrong with learning something new, and there's nothing wrong with learning it while you can. Just keep doing it, keep expanding your knowledge, and just enjoy every minute of it, even the ups and downs.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for all of your contributions this morning. It's been absolutely amazing. I know we've only got a few minutes left, but I don't know. I'm just going to open it up to the people in the room. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have we got any questions for me or our panel this afternoon? You can either type in the chat or you can just do old-fashioned speaking. I think everyone's just so impressed. They just, Duncan, Duncan, were you going to ask a question? I've put you on the spot now, haven't I, Duncan? I could see your microphone come alive. If not, that's absolutely fine. Can't see any other people with questions. Well, in that case, then thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of our sort of panel today. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all the hard work you did prior to the session. Thank you so much for volunteering. For all of you, getting up and speaking in front of people that you don't know is always a challenge. I think you've done absolutely fantastically. Amy, I think you should be incredibly proud of yourself today. It's been amazing. I am so proud of our apprenticeships. You never cease to amaze me about what you do, how much effort and how much hard work you do. But also, I'm so genuinely thrilled at the trust and the faith that your employers put in you. That is exactly what apprenticeship should be about you demonstrating just how good you are and having that kind of working relationship so that you can progress. It just goes to say thank you so much for joining us in today's panel. I know there's lots of other activities happening this week. Thank you also for everybody getting involved in our Instagram Q&A. Instagram is one of those things, it passes me by, but I'm sure it's one of those technical platforms that everyone uses, but thank you so much for that. It just makes me say thank you also for everybody joining us today. Thank you for giving up your time. We hope you found this session really useful. And if you have any further questions or anything you want to know from us after today's session, I know that there are the social media channels out there, so you can get in touch with us. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And yes, thank you. And I will bid you all a good afternoon. Thank you and have a good rest of your week, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You're brilliant.
Thank you.
Great job.